I was in Sri Lanka in 2004 writing music with a friend in a little village, and a few months later the tsunami hit and destroyed that village, and so I wanted to do something for the village. That's when I came up with the idea of doing Latin music and Western artists fused together. The most famous group I could think of was the Buena Vista Social Club. I got in touch with some people in Cuba and spoke to these musicians from Buena Vista Social Club and said, would we be able to do this? This was like a fact-finding mission. And they said yes. There were certain songs I always wanted to record, and this was a great excuse, like Because the Night, Hotel California, Stairway to Heaven. Who would dare record Bohemian Rhapsody? We did. We recorded Under the Boardwalk in Havana with a Cuban artist, because I didn't expect the Rolling Stones to send us audio files. Well, forget that. But I did a long shot and recorded the song again with the original track, and went on and on and on. Finally, I rang Mick's office and sent them a CD of the track. And sure enough, the next day I called up the office again, and they said, yeah, Mick has heard it, he approves. I went, what do you mean he approves? Yeah, he said you could use it. Welcome to the Hotel California. My favorite is Hotel California by the Killers. And Brandon did such a fantastic job. I was chasing Brandon for about a year and a half. Finally, he did it, and I got in touch with the engineer, and he told me this session was great. It turned out fantastic, but they lost it. So I said, is he going to go in the studio again at all? And he did, and he did the harmonies and everything, and sent it over, and it was great. I heard Cupid by Amy on a reggae track, and I thought, oh, this would be fantastic if I could only get this. A friend of mine who has a place in St. Lucia told me Amy Winehouse is down there, and he gave me the email address. So I wrote to this guy, and so sure enough, he said, yeah, well, she's actually next door, and I'll get it to her. And sure enough, he did. He got her the taster for the album, so she was aware of the album. I guess Amy must have just said, yeah, it's okay, do it, you know. So we got the track, we got the vocal, and we redid it in this Buena Vista tradition. Imagine there's no heaven. Jack Johnson let us use one of his songs on the first album. So I thought, well, it's a long shot to get him to agree to do another one. But we found Imagine, him sing with guitar. I thought, wow, if I can get a hold of that, that'll be perfect. So I got in touch with Yoko, and I had to give him my credentials, which was that I met John at the Revolution Club at the Perron Delron's reception. So it all ties in, you see. John and Ringo came to the reception, and I met John at the time, and I relayed that to Yoko, and I said, and I'm sure John would have said yeah. Yoko finally said yes, and I got back to Jack Johnson, and they said, okay, go ahead, as long as we approve it. And so I recorded it once in Havana, and I wasn't sure about it, and I recorded it again in Madrid. Well, first I had to go back to Jack Johnson, who loved it, and then to Yoko to approve it, and she said, yep, she likes it, and that was good, and that's how we got that track approved. Because the night belongs to lovers, because the night... We recorded two songs. One was Because the Night, and then she showed up in my driveway one day with a computer. I didn't know who it was. She just came up the driveway, There was no car, it was just her. And I said, "Can I help you?" She said, "Oh, I'm Katie Tunstall." I said, "Oh, okay. You don't have to explain." And she just did a great job, and we did it all in one day. We did, and the guitars, and it just turned out great. Yeah, Beat It. Well, I wanted to do a Michael Jackson song, and I thought Thriller, but then I thought, well, nobody's going to do a cover of Thriller. I remember the Fall Out Boy did a version. It was just an obvious track to do because it lent itself to changing the style. We did it before the great man passed away, but I hope people will listen to this track and appreciate him even more. Stairway to Heaven, I have to credit Rodrigo y Gabriela, because they did such an amazing version, and all we had to do was enhance it. And it was just like a gift from them to us, because we came into the studio and we had this masterpiece to play with. Yeah, it just works really well as the last song, I thought, because you have to have a good last song, I think. When you say, you know, the end of the world is nigh, because then you look like the guy with the board on Oxford Street, and people just laugh. So we're not going to do that. What we will do is do something that people enjoy, give them the music and the art and the dance, and let them learn for themselves what's going on.